Hello, I'm the Doctor. Welcome to DoctorGeek. Today, with one day to go before episode 6 premieres, let's take a look at everything we know so far about Demons of the Punjab. First off, the official synopsis for episode 6, released by the BBC, reads, "What's the point of having a mate with a time machine if you can't nip back and see your gran when she was younger?" India, 1947. The Doctor and her friends arrive in the Punjab as the country is being torn apart. While Yaz attempts to discover her grandmother's hidden history, the Doctor discovers demons haunting the land. Who are they, and what do they want? So, from first impressions, this sounds like it's going to be Chris Chibnall's take on a Father's Day kind of episode, where one of the companions gets to go back in time to see their relatives when they were younger, as we're clearly going back in time to see Yaz's family, and in particular, her grandmother. However, the key difference here is the tumultuous time that we are visiting, as Pakistan was created out of India. So there's definitely an interesting backstory to be told here, and we'll talk more about that later. It's interesting though that there is the addition of these so-called demons haunting the land in this episode, as in the Rosa Parks episode, where there was also an important story to be told, the enemy was in many ways unimportant to the grand scheme of things. So I just hope that this supernatural element doesn't take too much away from the interesting story setting that they've already set up. Chris Chibnall has said that he wanted to explore times and places that have never been featured in Doctor Who before, and we have definitely never visited Pakistan in the series so far. With a new writer for Doctor Who, Vinay Patel, penning this episode, this is the first episode all series that Chris Chibnall is not writing or co-writing, so it seems that he's really looking to add a bit more authenticity to this story by giving it to someone who can really relate to it personally. Vinay calls the episode educational, epic, and emotional, and Chibnall says, "Like Rosa Parks, Partition was one of the stories I knew I wanted to tell when I came into the job. I was unsure about how we should approach this one, but then co-executive producer Sam Hoyle introduced me to Vinay Patel and brought him into the group. Vinay said, 'You might not want to do this, but I'd really like to do a story set during Partition.' It was very exciting that our intentions were aligned." So it sounds like both the writer and the showrunner are very excited about the idea and story this week. And with Jamie Childs returning to direct again after directing episode 1, it looks like Chris Chibnall is really trying to make this episode into something special. So let's take a look at the two trailers and see what we can learn from them.
I want you to have this.
What's the point in having a mate with a time machine if you can't nip back and see your gran when she were younger?
The first trailer opens with an old woman passing someone a watch, but I'm not convinced that this is one of the TARDIS team, since we know that this woman isn't one of our guest stars, so she probably won't be a big part of the episode. I'm guessing that this will be early on and will set up part of our story. This watch is interesting, as nothing in the synopsis says anything about a watch, and I can't think of how it could play a big role in a story about demons. But perhaps this watch in the future is a prized possession of the Khan family, and we will learn its storied history. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. Next, we see the Doctor and friends being given a ride in an ox-driven cart, while a strange person watches them from up high. And this is most likely the demons that will be plaguing them this episode. We hear a voiceover from Yaz saying the line from the synopsis, "What's the point in having a mate with a time machine if you can't nip back in time and see your gran when she was younger?" And then we land on an image of guest star Hamza Jitoa's character, Manish. By the way, if I'm butchering any of these names, whether real or in the show, please forgive me.
1947.
We're in the middle of the partition of India.
In the second half of the trailer, we get a glimpse of Shane Zaza playing the character Prem. And then, a group of horsemen ride down a dirt road, and if I had to guess, I'd say that these guys are going to be one of our main antagonists in this episode. Whether they are a part of the demons, or just an addition to them as part of the violent history that's taking place. Finally, as the Doctor realizes that they have arrived during the partition of India, she looks around and appears very distressed. So, in this first trailer, we see 2 out of our 3 main guest stars and get a feel for the setting in the story, but no look yet at Yaz's grandmother, and no good look at these demons. So, let's see what trailer 2 can show us.
We're in 1947, Pakistan.
And that Umbrin, she's your nun, right?
Yeah.
As this trailer opens, we get a beautiful view of the scenery, as the Doctor and friends learn that they are in Pakistan in 1947. And Ryan correctly identifies a woman named Umbreen, played by our last guest star, Amita Suman, as Yaz's grandmother, and who Yaz seems very excited to meet.
How did we bring demons on ourselves?
I don't know, but we'll find out.
In this next section, the Doctor holds her head and screams in pain, in a clip that we saw months ago in our series trailer. So perhaps these demons are a formidable threat after all, as it seems like they are really getting into the Doctor's head in this episode. Next, the Doctor appears in a barn in a way that looks unlike anything we've seen before, as she seems to literally appear from nowhere in a spiral. It actually kind of reminds me of the port keys from Harry Potter. So this is the thing that I'm most intrigued about in this trailer. Leave your ideas for what you think it could be in the comments. A woman asks, how did we bring demons on ourselves? As we see those horsemen ride again. So this is another hint that those horsemen are going to be bad news. But I'm not convinced that they are the same threat as the actual demons that we got a brief glimpse of in the first trailer. The Doctor says she doesn't know, but she'll find out. And we see her reacting to something, almost like she's losing control of her body. So this is possibly another effect from the demons. Lastly, we see the Doctor, Ryan, and Yaz coming across a mysterious metal hatch buried in the ground, and it looks like it's straight out of the Dharma Initiative. Honestly, the more scenes we see from this episode, the more questions I have about it, as this metal is not consistent with the time period, and it's also not consistent with demons. So, truly mysterious stuff.
If I had to guess, I think we're going on in...
Tread softly. You're treading on your own history.
Ryan says, if I had to guess, I'd say we're going on in. And I think he's talking about this hatch that we've just seen, as it looks like he's in the same place with the woods in the background. And it would make sense that they would go and explore the inside of this strange metal structure. Next, we see the Doctor, Ryan, Yaz, Graham, and another woman, possibly Yaz's great-grandmother, based on how she looks at her in this scene, running away from a house through some fields. And as the Doctor warns Yaz not to tread on her own history, Yaz hugs her grandmother, who looks very uncomfortable at Yaz's familiarity with her, and a visibly annoyed Doctor yells at Yaz from behind. This last scene here really makes me think that we're going to get some echoes of Father's Day from the Russell T Davies era, as it seems clear that Yaz will not heed the Doctor's warning to stay out of her family's affairs, and in doing so, she may jeopardize her own future. So, I'm excited to see how that dynamic plays out, but honestly, this episode looks like it's jammed full of plot devices and mysteries, and the Doctor at times looks to be in some serious trouble. So, it's looking like this episode is going to continue the trend of these episodes getting better and better as Series 11 progresses. And as I said before, I think Chibnall really wants to do this story justice. Also, this will be a great opportunity to give Yaz's character some more development, so I'm excited to see that. As we begin the back half of Series 11 already, we only have 4 more weeks after this of brand new Doctor Who, not counting the potential Christmas or New Year's special. So, let's enjoy it while it lasts. Let me know in the comments what you're most looking forward to seeing this episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss my recap and review coming out this Monday. As always, Thank you for being my companions on this journey today. I'm the Doctor. Bye for now.